How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today, finally, they've added the new update, the Imandra map, I believe it's called, so that's where I'm off now. At the minute, I've got a dolphin, a loaf, and the radar trailer. Radar trailer is pretty damn handy when you're exploring this map, if I'm honest. So that's the loading screen. It's the first time I've seen it. What is that on there? It's a Vor on AE and a Bruce. Everyone needs to get himself a Bruce. So it looks like there's some pretty massive bridge that you've, well, I'm assuming you have to rebuild it at some point. Got some pretty random music there when you first get to the map. So first thing is, they've not sorted the glitch out where basically my loaf just dropped through the sideboard. It's not the end of the world. I kind of figured it was possibly going to happen. It doesn't really make any odds because I'd just winch it behind me anyway, but still, it'd be nice if they fixed that because, yeah, they like bombing around with the loaf in my sideboard. That's what she said. So we're off. As you can see though, well, first impressions, one, I really like the look of the map. Two, it's definitely no joke of a map. It doesn't give you an easy time with it. This video is going to be basically like the first half of the map I'm scouting, because if I did the whole scouting thing, it'd either have to be a very heavily edited first look around the map, or, well yeah, that's about it really, or I'll just do it in two halves. It's about 40 minutes long already. I just used the radar trailer and you can see how much bigger it made the circle, and it looks like a pretty decent chunk of map. But then you zoom out and I'm kind of making my cursor thing go to like the four corners of the map. And as you can tell, it's a pretty decently sized map because the radar trailer is actually, well, I believe, what was it? Did it have a radius of 300 or 350? So yeah, I'd say you'd need, I don't know, 16 to 20 decently placed radars to scan the whole map really. So yeah, it's definitely a good old size, and there's quite a lot of what do you call them, contracts and stuff. On the way here, I'm not going to leave it all in, but I was just cutting across this first bit of snow. It looks like the loaf is going pretty slow. Well, it is going pretty slow. Obviously normally this is what I do, is just reach a winch to something ahead, but as you'll see in a minute, like, it's just one of those trollish bits of snow where it basically stops the dolphin dead as well. As you go down the road a bit, you got like this little river. There is like this concrete laying over there, so I sent the loaf that way, but you can also cut through the river, but it's got a bit of a sharp angle to it. So finally setting off, sort of, when you start on the map, I suppose with the way it's rotated, you kind of start at the bottom right, not quite at the right. I'm now heading basically to the bottom right. Here's the dolphin. Again, the entrance of the garage is just behind me, and I kind of use my weight and momentum to bounce my way pretty far over the snow, but as you can see now, it's just, yeah, trollish snow. And not that I'm trying to defend the loaf, like, the loaf isn't that great through snow. I don't think really any of the scouts are. Well, the loaf is fine across snow where, like, there's paths and all sorts, even somewhere there's not, but in this game when you've got like just a deep snow where you're not supposed to go, yeah, it absolutely nails it. But it nailed this thing as well, and this thing normally motors through snow. Even in Northport, where you grab the Hummer from, cutting down there, this thing flies down there, whereas a lot of things like the ANK, that struggles quite a lot. So I went through that little stream bit. I did bang my nose on the river a bit, but it was not too bad. So obviously I'm cutting like large parts out, or not large parts, but otherwise, yeah, this video could easily be like 2 hours long. You can see where I dropped the radar trailer, and I did a little scan of the area, and there's an upgrade up here, and it's the all-wheel drive for the twin steer. And I was climbing up there, there's like two paths you can choose to get it. I originally went with the left one with the loaf, but I also had a roof rack on, and it was like, I don't know, it was struggling to get up there basically, so I brought the dolphin instead. Because at this point I'd already kind of decided between having to go back to Lake Coved to fit the all-wheel drive to the twin steer, I was also going to recover this and the loaf and take the roof rack off the loaf, or bring another loaf without a roof rack. and also bring a, what do you call it, a maintenance trailer. So basically, I'm now heading to the bit where I can go right around to the upgrade, and as you can see, my fuel's running pretty low. I was thinking, I was hoping, I was praying. You can see like the road outline. I was hoping I could make it there in time, because I thought if I don't, if I just end up getting 10 feet away and stalling, it'd be a bit of a pain in the arse, because then I'm going to have to come all the way back. It was risky. Obviously this thing does burn some fuel when you're, especially when you're flooring it and trying to climb over rocks like this. You're going into the high 20s sometimes. Again, wasn't even wasting time, not hanging around, using my winch on every tree I can reach. And I mean, to be fair, I already didn't really have high hopes, because as you can see, it's pretty narrow. And even little things like having the sideboard bed on makes, like, obviously the rear end a little bit wider. You can catch on rocks a little bit, whereas if I just had a clean empty chassis, it'd yeah, be a bit narrower to slip its way around. But again, using a winch, grab the tree near the upgrade. I can't quite see the fuel now, but I know I'm down to about 4 or 5, if that. Got to about here and it started getting jammed again. I'm like, oh no. Emergency winch before she runs out. I believe I got into the upgrade with about 2 or 1 fuel left. Yes, engageable all-wheel drive for the twin steer. That was one I was definitely looking forward to. I'm going to obviously do separate videos on messing around with the twin steer, the F750 and the new TUZ Warthog thing. But in a minute I'll just show you a quick bit of the twin steer, because I brought it with me as well in the end. Brought it to the Imandra map, is it? Yeah, Imandra. So that's the map so far. That's like just the bottom right corner really. So again, I won't leave too much in, but this was when I just went back to Lake Covd, put the all-wheel drive on the twin steer, and I can say good news is the only thing that was worrying me is, because they were obviously splitting the amount of power between twice the amount of wheels, I didn't want it to feel gutless or anything, but when you put it in high gear, it still has that same twin steer feel where it just whooshes up to speed in high gear. It's got a nice pace to it, and yeah, it feels way better with the all-wheel drive on it. It's just like when you're steering normally, because it's such a long truck and the power's coming from the back. Imagine holding like a big 2-meter plank of wood out in front of you, and you're trying to steer the front of it by holding the back and moving it around. Like, it's just not the most ideal way, and you ended up understeering sometimes in this, or it didn't feel like, you know, it really was trying to follow its own tyres. It was just being pushed from the back, and it was kind of understeering its way, not all the time, but now it just feels a lot more urgent at the front end. Like, if you steer left, it starts clawing its way to the left, and yeah, it's very nice. So I brought a Taiga and another loaf with me. As I said, I wanted one with outer roof rack, just because when you're climbing over rocks and stuff, the roof rack obviously weighs a bit more, and it just like nullifies your speed a little bit, or like the momentum you can build up. So yeah, that's what I wanted. I've just drove past the radar trailer that I left, so we're basically picking up where I left off. I've just grabbed the radar trailer to go with me, and this is where I would say you're coming up to the first kind of trap with this map. This map is definitely a troll, and B, yeah, I like the fact that it's a seriously difficult, annoying, trollish beast. Once I've learnt my way around the map, I'll obviously know exactly which bits to avoid and all the rest of it. So I suppose there was never going to be any quick way. They were kind of baiting you into certain things. When you follow the road round and come down here, you can sort of see to the top of the screen there's like a line of telegraph poles, and it looks like if you can make it over to there, there'll be like another road. But already I kind of smelt the trap now, especially the fact that I couldn't even get across the snow to it. And I'm in the Taiga, fully upgraded, custom muds which are very good in snow. They're also pretty good at not breaking through the ice, but as you can see, it absolutely just trapped me. I was going like a quarter of a mile an hour. Was not fast enough for my liking. I was slowly trying to make my way through, kept disconnecting the loaf, trying to reach them telegraph poles. I'm pretty sure they have upped the winch length on the trucks a little bit. Again, probably about a month or so ago, not like today or anything. Yeah, in the end, I gave up clawing my way through with the Taiga, because I already had the twin steer ready and waiting at the gateway. And yeah, I wanted an excuse really to try it out with the all-wheel drive. And already through that snow back there, considering how trollish it was and it near enough stopped the dolphin dead in its tracks as well. I'm getting a bit lively. Got a flat tyre, nothing too bad. Again, I'm not particularly blaming this thing on it, because this is fast. It's going to take lots of damage. I just think they need to tone it down a little bit in the game, but yeah, worst case, I just bring repair trailers and yeah, loafs with roof racks on them everywhere. So, as I said, the damage mechanics, they're not really like, I don't know, you can't purposely avoid them unless you're just going to sit there in low range, low gear, going 2 miles an hour everywhere, which I don't want to do. Yeah, I just take repair stuff and it's part of the game now. Like, it's just a bit like running out of fuel. There's not really much risk or avoidance of it, it's just one of those things. But yeah, this thing clawed across that terrain I just went over. I mean, obviously it's still a long truck, it can still beach the middle of it. But you can see when I'm turning now, I mean, I've got chained on, but I'm on ice. But yeah, even if I had the chained on then, because there's no power to the front wheels, it would probably understeer quite a lot there, whereas now it's yeah, there's a bit more immediacy to the steering, which is nice. I don't even know if immediacy is a word, but it is now. We bagsed it. Yeah, it turns out I wasn't even that far off, like, making it out the ice with the Taker, but either way, I didn't want to sit there at a 1/4 mile an hour and burn all my fuel just doing that anyway. I kind of had a feeling, or fingers crossed should I say at that point, that the twin steer, there'd be some ice that wasn't breakable around there, and yeah, I was right. The twin steer straight in there, rescued it. And like I said, since these sort of maps, Lake Covdan, especially this one, I can more see why they needed and wanted to add a all-wheel drive to the twin steer, because the twin steer would just be out of its depth in these sort of maps really. As much as I really like the twin steer, and it gets through a lot more terrain than you'd give it credit for, but just, yeah, there's situations where, like, when you punch through the ice in Lake Covd, even if you got the front end of the truck fully out the ice and your back end's still in the ice, that was the only power source, and you'd just sit there and it was like, oh god, if I just had a bit of power in the front to claw my way out, it'd certainly help the situation. It's funny though, because with the mechanics of this game, and I kind of said the same with the GMC, that now the twin steer feels extremely good, and it's almost like it was originally designed in the game, like the GMC was designed to just be what it is, not have all-wheel drive, it was a highway truck. The twin steer again was good for what it was, but it was rear-wheel drive. Now they've just added all-wheel drive, but they might not have tweaked some of the background mechanics of it. It feels, I certainly wouldn't go as far as to say overpowered, because, I mean, for one, I'm not using the twin steer exploring this map, because I just know the middle of it will beach quite a lot and stuff. But yeah, it's just very good now. It feels like it's feels closer to a realistic truck within the game, to be honest. Like I say, it doesn't really feel like it's being held back by purposeful restrictions, because it was kind of held back by its own just game restrictions anyway, that it wasn't all-wheel drive. So, driving a little further on, came to like a sort of runway thing. I found this TUZ Warthog, didn't steer. I don't have chained on, obviously, I've just found it, so I forgot about that, went to steer, didn't steer at all, smashed into. That's another thing I've found though, is that trailer is the new saddle high, like, flatbed. The only thing is it hasn't got a ramp on it, which is a bit disappointing, because unless the crane's now strong enough to just lift anything on there, it's yeah, it'd be cool for carrying cargo, but it would have been nice if it had some kind of ramp option. But it's just a quick little blast around in the TUZ Warthog, and I have to say, first impressions, yeah, I quite like it. I've not drove it enough yet to where I can say it's like very good or very bad or whatever. It feels a little bit mental. It's got very good power. It winds up through the gears pretty well. Yeah, it's just, it feels pretty fun so far from what I've used of it. So, like I say, there's some little airport thing. Further up on top of this hill, there was like a watchtower, which is what I was originally heading towards. That's why I was just cutting through the runway, but obviously got distracted, seen a Warthog and a new trailer. So this is the hill up to the watchtower, and as you can see, I'm using my winch at the minute. But by the way, when you find this truck, the gearbox is already in the red, so it keeps slipping out of gear every now and then. But as you can see, the tyres have zero grip up here, even though it more looks like a rocky path, which I could appreciate it not being that grippy, but it's not. It's like the Lake Coved black ice. There is nothing to it. Like, if you haven't got change, you ain't getting up there. So I recovered my TUZ back to Lake Coved, put chain tyres on it. I've not found any of the raised suspension or anything at this point, so I've just got the standard normal sized chained on. I put the bigger engine in. I don't even think it made the power to weight go up, but the power to weight in it is very nice anyway. And yeah, having a go with chained was a bit better. I've put the advanced medium winch on, or whatever it's called. And I would say overall in this map, I was having reasonable success with the Taiga, with the muds on it, the custom muds, and the Loaf that also had the muds on. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, preferably bring a convoy of trucks. Try and bring 3 or 4 trucks if you can, and have at least some of them that have got chained on, because there's a lot of slippery roads and all sorts on this map. So yeah, fan of the watchtower. The views are looking pretty good. You can see, like, I believe it was that, the sort of rock bridge in the background. Or, to be honest, it might not have been that one yet. But yeah, I will say though, the views are very nice. It's a very aesthetically pleasing map again, albeit a trollish one. But like I said, once I've got everything uncovered, and I kind of know which bits bit me and which bits didn't, I'll soon be able to travel across the map relatively quickly. There's certainly areas like this though where there's no easy way around it. The game is just gonna try and slap you around a bit on this map. And again, considering I've got a Taiga, a fully upgraded one, and a goddamn horse of a vehicle, which not only do I always bring a Loaf anyway, as you know, but I've also got the radar trailer, which I needed some kind of scout to operate it. And it may as well be the Loaf. He knows what he's doing with them radar trailers. It says the only one thing, it's nothing against this map. I do think, overall, I feel this update's very nice. I've not noticed any bugs. I've had nothing like, in fact, sorry, I've had one bug. When I'm pressing up on the D-pad to switch trucks, sometimes it just auto deselects the option, but it was like I pressed left or right on the D-pad and it was fine. That is literally the only thing I can say I've noticed. Everything else has been fine. The map's good, the Twin Steer was good, the Warthog's good, the F750 with a V10 engine in it now is very nice. Yeah, overall I'd say a successful update. I mean, it's a little bit long to release it, but I'd rather it was released late and working than on time and all buggy and everything, because it'd kind of take the initial magic out of it. The only thing I wish they would do, but I appreciate it's on a test server, but it's kind of, this map is released to some people earlier than others, and it kind of, I don't know, some people have already seen all this and they've drove around the map. To a lot of us though, it's new. As you can see, there's an even crazier, more dangerous cliff edge on this map, which I'll certainly be attempting in quite a few different things, depending how quick I can get here with a few different things, because yeah, this one's not particularly near anything so far, but it's definitely a much longer cliff. It's got an awkward like waterfall that's frozen in the middle, so especially that I didn't have chained on, I kind of had to rush over it pretty quickly. What I'm doing now is changing my rear winch to the right hand side of the Loaf instead of the left, so that the Loaf naturally sits more to the left of the rear of my truck. But you see, and this saved me a few times tonight. Say if I was towing a Lodestar behind me, it's nothing against a Lodestar, it's just a wider truck or a Scout. Because like this Loaf just sits behind the profile of my Taiga, especially with the sideboards on, if I'm ever driving through awkward bits and I scrape a tree alongside the sideboard, it doesn't, like, the Loaf's narrow enough that it then just brushes along the side of the Loaf, and there's nothing along the side of the Loaf to catch it. Whereas, like, sometimes towing other vehicles that are wider, you just make it past the tree, but then the vehicle you're pulling behind you hits the tree and stops you. Yeah, thankfully I made it over the crazy rock cliff thing first time. which is good because I really didn't fancy flying down to the bottom. I believe this loaf has got the the autonomous winch on, so even if I rolled everything now, I'd be able to get out of it. But there's not as much strength in the autonomous as there is the advanced. Yeah, sorry. The one thing I was saying, these little bits of snow where you just it still doesn't feel realistic. It's like the Taiga I don't feel should be going this slow through this kind of snow. I mean, I'd rather they either made it deeper snow or put ice here or something. It's just, yeah. And again, that's nothing against this map. I think they just overdid the mechanics a little bit since they updated Lake Coved. So anyway, use me radar trailer. And as you can see, it looks like you're like, yep, uncovered a nice good old chunk of map, and then you zoom out and it's like, god damn, there's only about a 16th of the entire map. So having a little look, planning my next route. And you can see as I move up ahead, there's like a little patch of like lake and ice, and there's a road that looks like you can go straight ahead, and there's also, as I'm driving to it now, there's like a road peeling off, well, not a road, going off to the right that looks like an old frozen riverbed or something. When you go on the one straight ahead, it's like there's a pretty meaty kind of rock edge that you got to get over. That's I didn't even attempt in the end because I kind of had a feeling where this was going. I'd already eyeballed that little riverbed to the right on the map, so I nearly chose that way in the first place. So it yeah, didn't take a lot of persuasion for me to end up going that way. See, it's only like this fast I feel it should go on those other bits of snow, unless they make it look more realistically limiting. It's just, it doesn't feel right when you're driving through like 4 inches of snow in a complete purpose-built off-road vehicle and you're only going half a mile an hour. Yeah, you can see that. I reckon I could get through the gap and climb my way up, but like I said, I'd already been eyeballing this way anyway, so when the opportunity presented itself, I was off. And it's all looking good at first. Well, a few big rocks in the way. To be fair, the Taiga does climb over this sort of stuff very well. That's one thing I don't know, like the custom muds, I wouldn't say they climb up icy rocks very well, but you can kind of smash them into stuff and it can bounce up pretty well. And all things considered, that they're not chained at the minute, it is doing very well. See, there's like a little waterfall there that you have to jump off. Which is a good job it worked. I was hoping when I was going through it, please don't just get wedged halfway and then that's it. But we're all good. We made it. And as you can see so far, if you haven't already noticed, the map is a bit of a punish. It doesn't just let you skip along. Which, I do agree overall. I do like the fact that it's a harder map. I also, you know, like say a map on Michigan, it'd be kind of nice if they just added a bit more of a faster paced map as well. And again, I'm not complaining at all. If I had the choice, I would definitely choose this over like a simple map. But yeah, just somewhere you can stretch your truck's legs a little bit. But at least there is a runway on this. It's not the longest runway or anything, and I don't think you can really fly off either end, but it's a start. So yeah, even the Taiga's feeling this one. The Loaf's not, of course. He's just chilling. He's a goddamn professional. He knows what he's doing. So as you come up to this kind of little, I don't know, town, villagey farm bit, there's another mission. That's one thing I do like. There's a lot of missions on this. I can't remember how many there was on Lake Coved, but I do feel like there's more on this. Like the more contracts and more missions, and I would say overall they appear to be more awkward just because of how awkward the terrain is in general. So there's definitely a good old there's some good time worth of missions and stuff put in there. That's one thing I have to say to this game's credit. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 is a pretty bloody big game, I think everyone would agree, and I could complete Grand Theft Auto 5 times probably before I complete this game. Like probably more than that. There's definitely a hell of a lot of hours of stuff to be done in this game. Like, I certainly do feel overall like I got my money's worth, especially when you hear stories about oh, by the way, I grabbed that upgrade. It's the race suspension for the Warthog. But I'm going to end up going back to that villagey farm place So I'm just going to backtrack on myself a little bit. Yeah, I mean, what was it? UFC 4 that EA released the other month or whatever. They released it, got all the good reviews for it, and then after that they put adverts in the game that people had paid for, like mid-fighting on a UFC fighting game, and then an advert would pop up. Like, if it was a free game, if you'd given that game away for free, then fair enough, but charging people 60 quid and then putting adverts in the middle of your fight is insane. There's obviously been a load of backlash from it, but yeah, they're greedy bastards. But Activision did that 2 years ago with Black Ops 4. They released Black Ops 4, it was all good reviews, and then after that they started going like crazy on the microtransactions after they've got all the positive reviews. So I'm more wary of games that start with a bang and then they yeah, start ripping you off. This, I'll be honest, they should have sped the frequency of updates up more, but other than that, this map and the missions, well, I've not really done any of the missions yet, but I've looked through them and stuff. It certainly doesn't feel like an afterthought. Like, now we've finally got it. Yeah, it feels like a well put together, well planned, sort of higher difficulty map. And again, it's got a lot of little nice random things about it, that, like that cliff bridge thing. Obviously there's all sort of lakes and icy dodgy bits. Just coming down here, got myself an accident. Luckily I didn't go all the way over. I believe as I slammed the brakes on, there was, like, as you'll see, I'm kind of sat in a bit of a hole to the right of my truck. Yeah, as I slammed on the brakes I kind of fell in that hole as well, so it really didn't help the situation. But luckily it got out of it. See, that's the good thing with the custom muds on the Taiga, because it keeps a lot of weight in the actual wheels, and I didn't quite go halfway, like, you know, 90 degrees on my side. It kind of, the weight of the wheels, I reckon, helped tip me back. So I mean, overall by now I've only really got about a quarter of the map explored. There's a watchtower that was just like at the top of the screen, pretty much top middle now. And as I'm going along here, you can see there's like another icy river that leans pretty heavily. I knew already I didn't have the chained on, so I just kind of have to floor it, hope for the best. I made it across in time to grip my front wheels on the other side. Feeling pretty proud of myself now. That's right, game. Not to last too long though. I'm not sure. I think it might have been the fuel tank there that was just caught on the edge of the rock. Yeah, new objective. The road in front of me is blocked by rocks or whatever it is. There's going to have to be some kind of road clearance to be done. But I used my radar trailer. You can see there's like a big crazy ice bridge thing going across the river, which looks pretty cool. I'll be testing out that at some point pretty soon. At the minute I was trying to focus on the task in hand, because it was already, we're already up to like probably easily 2 hours worth of exploring and that, and I've only got about a quarter of the way so far. But it did speed up a bit as I went. Like, I was starting to get more used to the map's sneaky ways, its unforgiving ways. And yeah, like I said, the road was blocked. I had to reverse, turn around. This tree was trying to be a pain in the arse, but it wasn't having it. We carried on. Yeah, I'm basically going to try and loop round. Originally I was going to drive down the icy river thing that was originally making me slip and go right round these bits of like, well, these rocks and that, but I pushed my luck. I fancied my chances, thought I'd cut my way through the middle of them. And to be fair, in the end I'm glad I ended up bringing the Taiga around, as much as I think the Dolphin would have would eat this map for breakfast in certain ways. But there was a lot of tighter, twistier sort of turns and stuff where originally I didn't particularly plan to bring the Taiga or the Dolphin. I just brought a load of trucks with me, and for whatever reason I ended up in the Taiga, started taking the loaf with me, and it went from there. Just kept going further into the map, and then it was like, well, while I'm here, may as well keep going. So I don't even quite see it on the sort of screen, but just off to the left of the screen was like the other side of that road where I just got blocked. So I'm just rejoining the road now. It's funny on this game, they do it a lot in Lake Covd as well. There's a road there, but you can't actually see it in the snow. This one, I admit, you can see pretty easily. There's other roads on this map that, yeah, I just keep driving off into the middle of nowhere and keep looking at the map like, god damn it, where did that road go? Another good reason, though, for bringing the Taiga, because I will say, there's a lot of fuel trailers all dotted as you snake your way around this map. But yeah, they're definitely, like the Taiga as well, I know had like 330 litres of fuel. And normally, I could obviously bring a scout fuel trailer on the loaf and or a roof rack, but I didn't want the roof rack in case I wanted to go exploring in the loaf, which I did do a few times. I've cut most of it out because, again, there's only so much I can really put in the video. But we'll get to that all in good time. I don't know how long it'll take till the next update, but yeah, got time to pace myself. It's funny, been waiting obviously ages for this to come out, and then now I could make 10 videos tonight if I had the time. But I mean, I could do a twin steer one, a warthog one, an F750 one, an exploration one, a goddamn horse of a vehicle one. Yeah, but obviously I also wanted the radar trailer with me, so that's why I didn't bring the scout fuel trailer. I mean, really, I could have thrown a scout fuel trailer in the back of the sideboard of the Taiga, but it never really crossed my mind, to be honest. To be fair as well, I went past quite a few scout fuel trailers. As you can see though, this is where I think like the loaf does get a bit of a bad rap through some snow and stuff. Like there's bits of snow and mud and that it gets stuck on, but as far as all the scouts go, say bar the Tatran, I think this goes through stuff pretty well. I think like the TUZ 166 and the Don 71 and the CK and the Hummer all seem to get stuck worse than that. And yeah, I don't know, I think it's gone pretty nicely. Again, I'm not saying it's the best. That's a lot of the time why I stick it in the sideboard. And yeah, I'm in the Dolphin. Just get the benefits of the loaf whenever I need it. So I found that watchtower. To be fair, that watchtower actually did uncover a pretty big circle. Not quite to the edge of the map yet. That's where we're about to solve that situation now. So I'm back to where I stopped the Taiga. I basically stopped the Taiga, went off to the left, grabbed the watchtower, headed back with a loaf, reconnected the radar trailer, and we're off. You see, as I move further up, there's some camp there. I believe there's a mission as well, and there's a fuel trailer. So yeah, we're still basically, I'm heading along like from the right to the left of the bottom of the map so far. Decisions. I've not watched any videos on this map or anything, so this was fully like blind for me. I didn't know where I was going. Full Stevie Wonder. Should have brought the Navistar. Yeah, I like it like that really. I've not watched anything on the Warthog, just because then I get my own first impressions of it. And obviously with the exploring the map, yeah, if I already knew which way to go and that, it just, I don't know. Do you know when you ever explore, like, say Grand Theft Auto 5 is a good example, you kind of drive around areas and then like 2 weeks to a month later you'll end up driving past somewhere that you recognise from the beginning, but it all looks not different, but you know the map differently by then. I sort of like that feeling where, obviously driving around now, I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing, if it was the right way. In fact, a lot of what I've edited out is basically when I went the wrong way and went down the wrong road and then it just got to a dead end or some awkward bit or whatever, and it's like, turn around, go back. See, mostly though, the Taiga does make pretty nice progress through the snow. You just get the little patches like this that, again, look at it, it's not even that deep. It's like, it really shouldn't be stopping a Taiga that quick. So, the reason I wanted to head over to this corner of the map, I could do the radar trailer, definitely then find like each corner of the map just so it gives me some kind of scale as to what I've got left to do. And then again, like I said, overall, the second half of discovering the map was a little bit more, yeah, there's a little bit more pace to it. So that's like, I just moved my cursor to the bottom corner. I believe I've already just used the trailer now, and as you can see, I mean, it missed off that tiniest little bit. There's pretty good guesses with a radar trailer because you can see all the little tiny wedges that I've missed, but they're pretty damn small. So I've got to cut through this old abandoned village or something. And yeah, as you can see, that's like the first half of the map really. The top half is still to be done. I've pretty much got about 95% of this map uncovered, and then as you're looking at it now in the top right, there's like a very icy, slopey road that I had the Taiga with muds on, I had the loaf with muds on, and I was just slipping all over the place, and I was like, that's it, I'm done for tonight, I'm grabbing this warthog and I'm going to have a quick mess around before I start editing. Seen my plan, I went for freedom, but god damn it. I was already just going to recover this to Lake Covd anyway, so while I was up on top of that mountain, I figured I'd take my chances, you never know. Like I say, as you can see though, it's got a very punchy engine that gets up to gear very quick. That's just a quick sneaky peek of the rest I've uncovered. As you can see, there's like a little line through the middle that's still completely covered, and then the very top left corner, but I've already got a radar trailer up there, a low for Taiga. It's an inevitability. Yeah, and again, just a couple of quick sneaky peeks of the trucks. Like, I'm obviously going to do a proper video. I'll also do a review on them, but I may well just do a video that's like me flying around and messing around. Yeah, you can have the custom muds on this, which is pretty cool. Although I will say it did feel like it slowed the steering down. And of course, because this thing was pretty fast, I smashed into the ice. But it looks pretty good when it's lowered. And funnily enough, I was doing this all the time when I got the TUZ-16 Taz. Yeah, I finally jumped the river, and then found like a little ramp. I mean, yeah, this thing's definitely got some power to it. It's funny because it's not top end wise. I mean, it's certainly not slow, but it's not rapid, like, but it flies up to, you know, 7th, 8th gear pretty damn quick. And then when you put it in the Jeff Special, it's going pretty well. I went for another jump, kind of hit it a bit diagonally though. But yeah, all things considered. So I wanted to try the chained on them quickly. To check it wasn't a fluke. Put it in the high, and bam. Cleared that river again. I mean, I'll admit, I wouldn't say it's the most efficient, repair-friendly way to travel, but certainly a lot more fun. Ta-da! Yeah, like I said, I've not driven this enough to where I can say it's very good or it's very bad or vice versa, but I can already tell I think it's going to be a lot of fun in my hands. Yeah, that's definitely what she said. I mean, first time, landed on the ramped flatbed. And you can see now that I just left this bit in quickly. Once I actually start getting up to speed, it, yeah, it's got a nice rush of power, gets up the gears very nicely. I wasn't really tapping L1 then either, I probably could have skipped up them a bit quicker if I was. And this time I didn't even do the Jeff Special this time because I just wanted to see how far it would jump just on its own speed. I mean, what a goddamn professional. It's already loaf trained. Try and do that twice in a row. And then, oh my god, about to get the sad Titanic music out. I mean, it's definitely loaf trained. Sort of jumped the back end out, used it as its own prop, and I'm good. I ended up recovering it in the end. And as I said, that was most of it for the video. I don't go too mad in this thing. I just wanted to quickly test it for myself. Just let you know that, yeah, it's got the V10 now. It's pretty nice, to be honest. I mean, it's not rapid, but I'm certainly not disappointed with this speed at all. Like, this is very nice progress to be ticking along at. I ended up getting it, I think, to A on the power to weight. It was A- when I had all the frame and roof racks and everything on, but I took all the front bumper, everything off. And yeah, it was about A on the power. A lot better than it was. I mean, that's one thing I would say is a pretty good success overall tonight, is the twin steer's basically a faster, better, stronger version of itself. The TUZ Warthog is pretty funny and mental. This thing is now very usable, and it's also very versatile. It's got a lot of different attachments and everything. So yeah, overall, it feels like there's a couple of new toys to play with. The map itself, Imandra, is pretty cool, to be fair. Certainly up there on the difficulty scale. So yeah, overall, a successful update, I would say. That's how I'll be back tomorrow. I'll do either part 2, most likely part 2. I'll probably do a little bit of messing around on the trucks. But yeah, there's the rest of the map, just as a sneaky peek. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.